My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, our readings today, as we celebrate Gaudete Sunday, are overflowing with joy and hope. It is a Sunday of joy. It is a Sunday of hope that indeed Christ will come amongst us. God will dwell amongst us. This Sunday, my dear brothers and sisters in Christ, is a reminder about the joy of Christmas, Jesus Christ. This joy is truly not about all the gifts, the parties, the celebrations, the merrymaking, and all the things that we usually associate with Christmas, but Jesus Christ himself. Because it is through Jesus that the world and all of us have received the sure hope, have received assurance, and being able to rejoice wholeheartedly because Christ has won our salvation. Christ has saved us. Jesus Christ humbled himself and willingly embraced each and every one of us by being incarnate in the flesh and being born of his mother, Mary, coming into our midst and living amongst us as the Emmanuel, God with us. But dear brothers and sisters in Christ, in our first reading, Israel rejoiced as a joyful bride coming to her bridegroom, adorned for a lavish wedding feast. And in our second reading, we see St. Paul. Despite being in prison, he continues the theme of hope and joy in a community that lives by the life of Christ. That it is Christ that gives us joy. It is Christ that gives us hope. In our gospel reading, we note that John the Baptist is sent by God as a witness to his light upon earth. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, the mission of joy is a joyful mission. It's a mission of hope, but a big responsibility. As he undertakes his mission, John is faced with two big questions from the religious authorities. Namely, who are you? And why are you baptized? John is so categorical, and he did not claim what he was not. He made it so clear that he was not the Christ, but a voice crying out in the wilderness. He was not Christ, but only the voice crying out in the wilderness. He was not the Word, but the voice. He was not the light, but a witness to that light. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, when they asked as to why he was baptizing, despite the fact that he was not the Messiah, that he was not Elijah, and that he was not a prophet, John declared that he was baptizing in order to make known the one who stands amongst them unknown to them. Thus, John did what he was doing in order to open people's eyes to the person standing amongst them, the Messiah, who was in their midst without them realizing. And this is what John was and is. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, there was a great light, and there is a great light shining amongst us. However, many of us are unaware of it. And John came to bear witness to this light. Namely, the Lord stands amongst us. And John is reminding us of this unknown factor amongst us. And our calling today, your calling, my call, is to make known, to allow Jesus to shine through the world. To make known Jesus Christ to the whole world. To allow him to shine forth in our world. To shine forth in our lives. John spoke of himself as a voice crying out in the wilderness. John used his voice to make him known, to make known the light that was shining. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, it is through each and every one of us to make known the Lord that stands amongst us. We as couples, to make known Christ to our children. We as parents, to make known Christ to our own children. Me as a mother, to make known Jesus, not only to my spouse, my husband, but also to my own children and to my neighbors, through the way of life that we live, through the way of life that we live. And that is why we have to preach more and more by the way of life, the life that we live. It is through us, my dear brothers and sisters in Christ, that the Lord's promises, and especially to the weary, the tired, to the powerless, and the burdened, are made real. And it is our Christian calling. It is our Christian vocation to bring God's great promises to reality, that common decency and normal human dignity to everyone. We are called to use our voices. We are called to use our tongues. We are called to use our means to make Christ known to everyone. John used what he heard, namely the voice. And he was in the wilderness. And people were attracted to his voice. And especially the message that he proclaimed. Each and every one of us, we have a message that we can proclaim. And especially with our own lives. It entails that we proclaim the person of Jesus Christ through word and deed. So that Jesus Christ's worldview, his values, and his attitudes should be revealed and fill up the earth. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, it is through our care and our compassion for one another and for others that they will experience the Lord's presence. They will taste the Lord's goodness. They will encounter his strength, the strength that fortifies the will, the strength that encourages the fearful, the strength that comforts the broken heart, the strength that bestows God's favor on the abused and the debased.